Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sharon Rogers, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Wells, Maine in the United States. And every second and fourth Tuesday, Tune In Tuesday, I bring you a class via my YouTube channel. Now, the second Tuesday of the month is currently devoted to techniques, but the fourth Tuesday is dedicated toward products. In this case, the product comes from the September to December mini catalog, and it is the one-of-a-kind bundle that can be found on page 45. This is a stamp set and die bundle, and it is $27.75. That is an amazing price, and for someone who lives in a climate that gets snow, it's a great deal and something that's going to be used a lot. And tonight I'm going to show you 4 great cards in a less than typical snowflake color scheme. Let's see. Our first step is to bring in our embossing machine, and we're going to take a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white and put it inside our Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder. You want to put the folded edge through first. So you need plate number 1, your folder with the cardstock, and then plate number 4. If you live in a snowy climate, I think this is an embossing folder that you really should have. You'll probably get a lot of use out of it. I happen to love the snow, so I know I'll get a lot of use out of it. Now you can choose to use, and I'm not sure how well you can see, but there are larger snowflakes up here and then lots of little ones down here. You can choose to have this as the top and this is the bottom, or the other way around. I happen to think that as you get closer, or as the snowflakes get closer to you and the ground, they look a little bit bigger. So I'll probably do it that way, but I don't think it really matters, and I'm not sure which way it was intended. We'll bring in a base of fresh Freesia, not your typical winter color, snow color, but I think it makes a wonderful snow color because it's got a very cool tone and yet it's soft and fun. So I'm not sure where my bone folder went to. It's around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Give this a nice press. And we'll adhere this. Glue going on here, just a little bit around the outsides, maybe a little bit in the middle. And we'll center this on here. All right. I think fresh Freesia is just a nice fresh color. We're not done using our embossing machine. Let's bring in our Stylish Shapes dies. And this is a great versatile set. I'm going to use the second largest, third largest, and fourth largest circles. And that middle circle I'm going to use on a scrap of basic white. And the larger circle and the smaller circle are going to come from a scrap of fresh Freesia. And I'm going to pull out a piece of silver foil and die cut a silver snowflake. I'll be right back. All right, so we have our 4 die cuts here. We'll bring in our fresh Freesia ink pad and the large snowflake image from One of a Kind. This will go right in the center here, tone on tone. And then on the smallest, on the white one, we're going to bring in the Sending a Flurry of Happy Wishes stamp. And we'll stamp that right in the center. All right. And then on the smallest piece, we're going to glue this snowflake. Of course, you could have used adhesive sheets here, or I could have used them, but I don't think it's it's a very big deal to just add a little bit of glue to each of these little ends here. And then the middle, maybe a little bit around the circle. And then we'll put that right there. Right there in the center of that smallest one. Now we're pretty much ready to assemble. Let's bring our card base back in. We're going to adhere the largest circle just with regular adhesive. You can use whichever adhesive is your favorite. You all know mine is green glue. And it's coming, about right here. So about 1/4 of an inch in from the left, maybe 1/2 an inch from the top. We're going to put dimensionals on the backs of these. Let me get my dimensionals out. We'll put 3 on the back there. Let's overlap these circles a bit. I want to make sure my sentiment is straight. And then I'm going to put this one right here. But see how it overlaps this white? I want to make sure that I'm not putting a dimensional there because this is already up on a dimensional. So all I need to do is put a couple dimensionals over here on this side. And the other one will lay flat. You can put a little glue on it if you want to, but you don't need to. So these two are here. And there we go, right like that. Maybe 2 things left to dress this up a bit. Let's bring in some silver and white ribbon. So this is the silver and white sheer ribbon. It's beautiful. It's great for Christmas, great for Hanukkah, great for winter in general, great for weddings. It's a really nice ribbon, and it's thin, and it's easy to tie a bow. I'm just gonna fiddle with the ends a little bit, get it to look how I want it. That's pretty good. And let's trim these ends off at an angle. And there we go. And now we'll just add that right there with a mini glue dot. Let's see, I've got my mini glue dots right here. Place it on to the mini glue dot and then take it off and stick it where you would like it. For the inside, let's just cut a piece of basic white and we can stamp it. I don't even think I'm going to re-ink this. I think I'm just going to huff on this to get that ink re-moistened. So it's just a very, very light snowflake in the back there. And I can stamp some other sentiment over here. Depends on the reason why I want to send the card. Maybe it's happy birthday, or maybe it's a Christmas card and I want to say Merry Christmas. I'll decide when I get an occasion to send it. See how many Christmas cards I have done already. And if I need another one, I can make this one a Christmas card. But there we go. In a minute, in the next card, you're going to see me refer back to this card that I didn't put the pearls on. So I'm fixing that. This was added after the fact. I'm going to put a pearl right there in the center of that snowflake. And let's put a couple more on out here somewhere. Maybe one right there. And then a small one right up here. So we've got a nice little triangle of pearls. And that makes all the difference. going to bring in the iconic imagery dies for this next card, because you can mix and match dies, and most die sets have some wonderful labels in them, like this one right here. Oh, let's put the candle back in before that gets lost. All right, so I like to store my dies in the same place as the stamps. So we're going to bring that in, and I'm going to cut that from Fresh Freesia. And I'm also going to cut a snowflake from our one-of-a-kind bundle. I'm going to cut the outline, or what I might call the snowflake blank. I'm going to cut that from Basic White. So let's bring in our die cutting machine. I have plates 1 and 2, a 3. Sound like Lawrence Welk. If you don't know who that is, you're not very old. All right, so I'm going to put this on an angle. In fact, I'm going to put this at the bottom here so I have more room. And I'm putting it through at an angle so that only one part of the die goes through first. That's easier on your machine. And I say that a lot because there may be new people watching these videos for the first time, and they may be fairly new stampers, or at least new to die cutting. And so they've not ever heard that, or it's also serving as a good reminder to those of you who are familiar but sometimes forget. We all forget from time to time. So reminders are always good. So I have these two pieces. I'm going to bring in a blending brush and my Fresh Freesia ink. Going to add some to my, this is just scrap paper that I'm coming off from. And I'm just going to lightly add some of this color around the edges of this snowflake blank. It just changes it up just a little bit. You can do this and just go right around. So it's just very, very subtle on there. Then I'm going to stamp a sentiment on here too. Let's go back to our snowflake dies and stamps, and let's do "Hope you have the merriest season ever." And we'll add that to a block. And let's do just like that. Hope you have the merriest season ever. I'm going to keep my ink out, and I'll bring in a piece of Basic White that I've pre-cut to 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to be going on a base of thick Basic White. I'm not going to add it right yet because I want to stamp first. So it's just a tone on tone look here. Just kind of makes it a little bit more elegant having that white on white layer. Now, I want to bring in some snowflakes from my stamp set. And I've got 3 small snowflakes and a swirl. I don't need all of those things going on at the same time, but I could use, let's see if I position this about where I want it to go, we'll bring in let's start with the large one. Let's put those in the corners. So somewhere around there. Let's see if this one's gonna go like that. We can put this one down here. Let's bring in the swirl. So maybe the swirl kind of comes and is peeking out down here. And then maybe we've got more swirly action going up on, let's reposition this a little bit. Let's come up here like that. And then maybe we have this, and maybe we have this. All right, so we just have a little bit of something going on down below. All right, that's good. Let's bring our snowflake in. We're gonna pop this up on dimensionals. I'm gonna put some in the middle. You'll see why in just a second. And some on those edges here. I'm gonna bring in some of that ribbon again. And whatever the length is of that label, I'm gonna double it. Ooh, I just flipped that over, but let's, before it sticks, let's flip it back. So I doubled this. We're just gonna fold this over like this, and we're gonna stick it onto here, and we'll stick it with dimensionals. If we put this over it, it's gonna hold it down. Put that. That's pretty good right there. Whoops. I want to bring this down a little bit. I want to capture this piece in here just a little bit more. There we go, just like that. And then we can adhere this to our card base, also with dimensionals. Put one in the corner. And I don't need to put them in the center because the snowflakes already got plenty in the center there. I should probably adhere this to the basic white, thick basic white card base first. There we go. But I did not practice stamping. Paper has two sides. See, I got a little ink right there. That's why I had to flip it over. But I cut that out of the video so it wouldn't be so long. And so now we've got just this tone on tone going on. Just a very white, clean looking card. And this is very soft, that snowflake in the center there. And you know what I didn't do? I did not add any pearls to that last card. I'll have to go back and do that. Let's bring in our, take your pick tool, and we're going to add some gems here. And you can, our pearls, you can just add them wherever you'd like to. You just want to have an odd number, remember? So there we go. You want to decorate inside. We've still got these swirls and snowflakes kicking around. We haven't washed those yet. So let's go ahead and just add some snowflakes in here. And we can do generational stamping, where we stamp twice before we re-ink. And if you want the swirls in there, you can have the swirls. There we go. Maybe one of the swirls kind of comes in this way. All right, just a quick, simple decoration inside. And there is that card. So, how do you feel about this color combination? I love it. I think it's unexpected and fun. And you know what? That's what we need right now, because as the days get shorter and it gets drearier, fun is what's going to give life back to us. If you would like the class card kit that will provide you with the cardstock, the ribbon, and the pearls necessary to recreate the 4 cards I'm making tonight, then simply place an order of $35 or more in my online store. You can find the link for that in the description of this video. But you'll have to do that by Sunday, December 1st at 9 p.m. If your order is $60 or more, I'm not only going to send you that class card kit for free, I'm going to include a full package of those iridescent pearls. They are so little and fun, they're going to add something great to any card you want to put them on. All right, I think it's time to create more projects. Let's get back to it. For this next card, you're going to need a piece of scrap paper to protect your work surface. We're going to be using one of my friend and teammates' favorite colors. Rachel, this is for you. This is a base of gorgeous grape cardstock. Pretty non-traditional for winter, but it does go very nicely with the fresh freesia. And we'll bring in a piece of fresh freesia cardstock that is a little bit smaller. First, we will be having a piece of basic white that's 4 by 5 1/4. And then this piece of fresh freesia is going to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And we're going to focus on this layer right here. I'm going to bring in my snowflakes, and I have, I think, the large one right there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean this because I don't think I cleaned it since the last time I used it. I'm going to layer on the large one and the medium, or the medium one and the small one, whatever those ones are. And then we're going to bring in that third one as well. And we're keeping them all very close together. There we go. Something, maybe I need a bigger block. Let me see. Let me see if I can make this work. There we go. Something that looks like that. They're all pretty tight together on there. I'm going to use generational stamping. I'll bring in the gorgeous grape. And we're just going to stamp around the edges. I'm going to stamp, and then without re-inking, reposition my stamp and stamp again. Stamp, turn, and stamp. Stamp, turn, and stamp a bit. Now you have to be a little bit careful because sometimes when you go off the paper, you get a stronger piece when you come back in because some of it had been stamped off, but you can kind of keep that at bay. I'm going to turn this a little bit. There we go. So I'm just filling up the edges. Okay, and it looks a little, uneven in there, but that's okay. This is going to go on here. Those colors, that looks really pretty on that. I don't know if it looks as pretty on camera as it does in person, but it really does look pretty. We're going to adhere all of these together. So our fresh freesia layer to our basic white layer that's just slightly bigger, just a little bit bigger. And let me fix this a little bit here. And then we're going to adhere this. I'm going to have some more layers in here that will require dimensionals, so this doesn't have to go up on dimensionals. Isn't that really pretty? It's kind of a fresh, almost reminds me of like a sunrise in the winter when you've got those kind of cotton candy skies, as I like to call them. All right, I'm going to set this aside for a moment. I have two other pieces I'm bringing in. One is a piece of fresh freesia that is cut 2 7/8 by 3 7/8, and a piece of gorgeous grape that is slightly larger, 3 by 4. This piece right here, I'm going to bring in that detailed snowflake, and I'm going to die cut that from the top here. Now, when I die cut it, I'm going to keep the die cut. So, and I'm going to keep both pieces actually. This is not a scrap. This is a piece that we're going to use. I also need to cut a label for a sentiment. And I'm bringing in something fancy, which is another great sentiment set, but it's also, and it's no longer bundled together, but I keep them together anyway. I'm not sure why. It's got lots of great basic labels that you can use. I'm going to use the smallest of these rectangular ones, and I'm going to cut that out of a piece of basic white scrap. Let's bring in our embossing machine. And we're going to cut that, and we're going to cut this. And again, we don't want that hard edge to go through, so we will angle it. We'll send this through. All right. Now for this piece right in here, I'm going to just poke it out. I'm going to release that snowflake. And so these middle pieces come out. Well, they're really stuck in the die, but I can fix that in a moment. Get rid of this so you can see what I'm doing here. If I bring in that piece of purple here, and I go back in and put this in, see how the dark shines or comes through there? That's what I'm going for a look. Now, if you wanted to make sure that, you know, your points went up and down, you can, but, you know, snowflakes go in every direction. You don't have to make them always perpendicular or parallel to something else. You know, of course, that I'm wishing that I had made it quote unquote straight up and down though, right? Because, you know, as a math-minded person, that's how I work, but I'm trying to get over those kind of tendencies. I mean, I'm not trying really hard. When I make happy accidents, I'm trying to be good with them. Now let's just pop this back in the hole from whence it came. There we go. And it should stick in there. And so you have just that really subtle look there. Really pretty, right? Let's bring in our silver ribbon again. We're going to tie that around this bottom, and we're going to tie a bow. I think this will be long enough. Let me see. Let me measure this to see what I've got here. I've got, I don't know, 17, 18 inches, 16 inches maybe might work. I think my directions say 16 inches, so if you don't want to waste anything. So we'll tie our little, oh, I should have my longer end. Where's my longer end? Nope. Yeah. Turn this, wrap it around. So much easier to do it off camera. If I were to take this off camera right now, I could do it lickety split. All right. So there we have a little bow, and we can adjust it Make it smaller. Even up the ends a little bit. All right, again, that was a little bit too big. There we go. Let's just trim off the ends. Stamp a sentiment on this label that we die cut. And we will bring in the darker ink, the Gorgeous Grape. And let's use the other sentiment that we haven't used yet. The one that says, you are a one-of-a-kind, wonderful friend. It's a very nice sentiment. It'd be great to get that card, don't you think? All right. You are a one-of-a-kind, wonderful friend. I hope that's straight. Yep, that's pretty good. All right, we're going to put that right over here. I want to slide this to the side just a little bit more, maybe up just a tad. We're going to adhere this right over the top of the ribbon using some dimensionals. Just put one in each corner. Keep it nice and balanced. Put that right there, center that in there. All right. Let's adhere that to this card. Now we've got a lot of layers going on here. I'm not sure that I really need to pop it up even more. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Pop this up. Just put some in the corners here. And we'll just layer that right on there. And now you know what we need, right? We need some sparkle and some shine. So let's put one of these big pearls, which is still pretty small, in the center right there. And let's put some others on here. Maybe put one down here. And maybe one here. Oops. Another here. We sprinkle a bunch all over. Now, of course, I can't just leave it like that because then I have an even number. Although this one, I don't know that I'd want to count it because it's kind of its own thing up there. But if you wanted to, you could put another one down here somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Odd numbers. Now let's make something for the inside. All we're going to do is let's bring back in our scrap. And let's bring in our Gorgeous Grape. Or you could use fresh Freesia on the inside now, but let's stick with the Gorgeous Grape. We're just going to go around the outside a little bit. And you know what? I don't think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp. I mean, I am doing sort of the same thing, but I'm just going to do it at the top. Something like that. There we go. You don't have to go all the way around. And here we have some purple snowflakes falling. Rachel, would that not be a dream come true for you? And there we go, just a very different kind of card. Our last card will be a base of thick basic white. And we're going to have a layer of fresh Freesia, and then a slightly smaller layer of, actually it turns this way, of basic white. And you see how this fresh freesia is mostly covered up? Well, we are going to take our stylish shapes, because that's another layer that's going to be on the top here. And we're going to use a couple of these circles, just as we did in the first one, but only 2 of them. We're going to use the second largest and the third largest. So we're going to take the third largest, which is the smaller of the 2, and we're going to cut out, whoops, where's that, of that center of that fresh freesia, because nobody sees that anyway. So this is a paper saving technique. We are also going to need a piece of silver foil, and that second largest circle is going to go right here. And we're going to save a little paper here too, because foil only comes 2 12 by 12 sheets for $5, which is a great deal, but it only comes 2 to a package. So we're going to save some paper here by die cutting this detailed snowflake out of there. And then we will also need to die cut a piece or a blank, a snowflake blank out of here. So here's a piece of scrap white. I know it doesn't look like scrap, but I have a bunch of layers already cut. I'll take my fresh Freesia ink pad, and we're gonna just stamp this on this little scrap, and this is what we're die cutting. You know what, while we're at it, I'm going to need a little sentiment layer, and that sentiment layer is just a thin piece of basic white, which I already had cut. There it is. I'm going to bring in the sentiment from my one-of-a-kind stamp set that says, "Thank you for your kindness." I've already got that mounted. I'm going to stamp it near the left edge, just like that. We can set this aside, and we're almost done stamping. Not quite. Let's die cut first, though. We'll bring our die cutting machine in. Plates 1, 2, and 3. We've got lots to die cut here, so this one needs to be positioned exactly. Bring in a little piece of tacky tape. It's a very low tack tape. You can use washi tape, painter's tape, Post-it, all that good stuff. So let's run this through like this. Remember, we're gonna cut this out, and we need our silver piece. You know what? Let's just run it through a couple times. Let's not cram it in there. My pieces are too large to really cram in everything anyway, so we'll just run this through. And then we will run our silver pieces through. I apologize if I just hit the camera with my plates. Remember, this comes right from the center. Ooh, I forgot about this coming right from the center, but fortunately not much of this shows, so that's going to be fine. All right. Set this aside. Okay. We'll set this aside. We will need to get our die cut out of here. Usually I drop this so that I can get these little silver pieces out, but let's clean it as we go here. And then these little edge holes, that's what releases the die. All right, so if you've got anything else left in here that needs to go, there. set with that. And then we've got this little piece that we die cut. That looks beautiful. And we had this circle that we die cut. Now on this circle, we have to do something before we do anything else. We're going to bring in our scrap paper to protect our surface, and we're going to take some of the snowflakes, and you can stamp them individually or all at once, doesn't really matter. I'm going to stamp them individually. Start with the larger one. I'm just going to stamp this all over, no particular rhyme or reason. And we'll do the other one as well. This is a slightly different shape, a little smaller. All right, so I'm just filling all that up. It's all right if it's not, you know, uniform, doesn't matter one little bit. I think we're done with that ink for now. Now we need to bring in our paper trimmer, and we're going to cut our circles in half. We're going to make some semicircles. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way here so I don't lose anything. We'll bring in our paper trimmer. And to cut this in half, what I do is I look at where these edges are. I kind of eyeball it first, and then I see, okay, well, this edge is a little bit over a line. This one's a little bit under a line. So I'm going to move it over a little bit. That's about center. For this one, center is about at 1 1/4. And it doesn't have to be exact because that sentiment is going to cover up any mistakes or any, you know, minor alignment issues that you have. Let's bring in our semicircles, and we're going to adhere this. Now, you're going to get a little bit of ink if you put it all over here. I mean, you're going to get a lot of glue kind of showing. So I usually just put the glue right around the edge of that snowflake that I cut. And then I put this on here and I try to line it up so that I have a uniform border there. That looks pretty good to me. Do the same thing over here. I can come out a little bit more. You can see that not a lot of the silver shows. We just want to get it so that it's pretty uniform there. That looks good. Now we're going to bring in our layers. So we had our base of thick basic white, and we had a white layer, and we had a fresh Freesia layer that's around here somewhere. Oh yeah, it's this one we cut from, right? So this is, see how there's just so very little of it showing. Plenty of room. All right. I'm going to add just my adhesive right to the very edges of my basic white. Put that onto my fresh Freesia piece. Center it. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a kind of a wave-ish kind of action. I'm going to just cut this right there. All right. We're going to put this here, and then we're going to align this underneath. And you can put them right together, or you can space them a little bit. I think I like to space them a little bit. I'm going to adhere those down. So let's go like this. And then we'll move this one over about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. And maybe down a little bit. Something like that. Hopefully they're roughly straight. This sentiment right here is going to go right over the top. So see, that's why it didn't really matter if we had these lined up perfectly. They could be a little bit crooked, doesn't matter. We're going to have something that looks like that. Let's go ahead and put that on. And we'll take our adhesive and I'm going to put that right here. I should have measured the other side to see how far I need to go, but you really just are going a little bit past here. We're going to take our silver detail die cut, put a little bit of glue on it. Ooh, that's a lot of glue, not a little glue. Just a little glue in lots of different places. Keep it balanced. And we're going to adhere that. This way you can keep all the points going in the same direction, or you can offset them. Doesn't matter. I think I like them going in the same-ish direction. Just like that. And then we're going to take our dimensionals and add them to our snowflake. And that goes, that's going to go right out here. Yeah, let's put those going straight up and down, I guess. You just want to make sure that this little strip, if it's 4 inches, it's not going to go too far. But if you just cut a random length strip, you just want to make sure it doesn't go past this part right there, because that'll look a little bit odd just sticking out there. Where are our pearls? We need to add those for some extra beauty. We can sprinkle them everywhere. Whoops. Sprinkled one, but I don't know where it went. Well, let's go out here. And of course we got to go in the center there. And we can put another one here. 1, 2, 3. So of course, let's go with 4 and 5. And there is our, oh, it's not our card because that's just the front. I should have layered that on first, shouldn't I? That's all right. Doesn't really matter. This is when you have the advantage of glue over the tape runners, because it's hard to put a tape runner over something that's got pearls on the other side. I really should have put this on first. So there we go. And again, another just very calm, pretty color snowflake scheme. Let's bring all our cards back in here. So we've got those ones, and we've got one more somewhere. Here is our first one. So just a different palette. What do you think? I hope you have enjoyed tonight's projects. I've shown you an alternate color scheme, but of course you could be a little bit more traditional. Here is one of the cards done in balmy blue and silver. And here is a card that is done in Pool Party and Misty Moonlight. And a little bit less traditional, but still more traditional than the pinky purples that I've been using. would be the Coastal Cabana and white and silver. So experiment. You don't have to stick with the same colors. Try to go outside of your comfort zone and you might be pleasantly surprised. Don't forget, if you want that class card kit, then you need to place your order by Sunday, December 1st at 9 p.m. Don't forget to use the link that is in the description of this video, because that tells me that's what you're going to be looking for, that class card kit. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you that has tuned in, and especially to those of you who have been supporting my small business for quite a while. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.